There are 100,000 of you. Isn't that crazy? First of all, thank you so much, because I gotta be real with you, I didn't think this was gonna happen. I now officially have one of these bad boys, and I could not have gotten this without every single one of you. So from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, thank you. I don't feel like I'm in the big leagues or anything, but I feel like I'm not in like the little leagues anymore of YouTube. You know what I mean? Since I never thought I would actually like be here today, I gotta be real with you. This kind of feels like New Game Plus a little bit. I know I still haven't gotten like an actual sponsor on a video before or anything, but this still just feels like very surreal that I'm here. But anyways, enough sappy introduction. You've already heard enough of that from my last Q&A video. I mean, you read the title. You already know what this video is going to be, right? I'm going to answer your questions for way too long and severely wear out my welcome, even though my last 3 videos have been really kind of higher quality. This one's not going to be, and it's going to be kind of bad in comparison. I have a tendency to try and have every single video be slightly bigger and better than the last one, and even though that's a good thought process to have, it's kind of unsustainable and it will drive me insane. So I think it's actually really important to force myself to put out something that's slightly lower effort, like this video. But enough introductions, let's answer your questions.
Did you ever think you'd get to 100K? Nope. I don't know how I got here. It's weird. Do you know where your subscribers are from? Love from Germany. Well, first of all, thank you. And second of all, no. But let's go inside and look, because it's loud out here and I'm a silhouette.
Alright, so this might be a little bit embarrassing to admit, but I have never once sat down and actually looked at my analytics before on YouTube. Early on, looking at analytics, it was just kind of depressing, because it was like, here's all the areas that you're failing. So I made a habit out of completely avoiding it altogether, and it's a habit I have been maintaining until right now. So let's look. None of you are watching at 6 a.m. That's really disappointing. 43% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. I mean, I would ask why, but none of them are going to be watching a Q&A video. But like, damn, that's kind of a lot. So you're telling me I should be at 200,000. Well, damn. That sucks. Oh no! No! Oh man! Dude, I remember really early on, it was no joke, it was like 50-50 split. God damn it. Dudes, get out of here. Ooh, however, knowing my demographic, a lot of people since making their YouTube account has probably switched teams, so I don't know how accurate this is, actually. 1% of the people who watch are over 65. Oh my god, that's really surprising. Shout out to the 25 to 34 age demographic. I'm one of you. Oh, the TV is the most watched. Oh, that's an honor. Holy shit, I actually love that. Sorry if you're watching this video on a TV. There's not really much to look at for this one. Let's do a lifetime of geography. All right, now I'm finally answering the question for real. All right, so it looks like half of everything is from the United States. That's, I mean, expected, but a little anticlimactic. Then we got UK, Canada, Germany, and Australia. Cool. I kind of guessed that just from like, since I do all the merch orders by myself, like these are kind of, like that checks out. India. Oh, that's so little for there being so many people. That's fine. Japan. I've sent a few shirts over to Japan. So if you're watching from Japan, hi. Thank you for watching. All right, I think that's about all there is to see there. Thank you for your question. And next up, since it's nice outside, I think I'm gonna strap you guys to my head and go for a little walk. So let's go. All right, what are all the names you thought of before crust bag? Honestly, I didn't have any. I got really lucky that the first thing I picked when I was like 14 was kind of cool, not that cringe, and then I just kept it. It started off as my Instagram handle, and I thought it was pretty good, so I decided to have it be my whole everything. Will you ever do a deep dive on different scenes in different areas, specifically the New York City scene? No, because like
I don't live in New York. People have asked me questions like that on occasion, and it's a totally fair question, but it really is like, what the fuck, what could I possibly have to say about any of that? This is what it's like going to shows in Japan. I've never been to Japan. I would just be lying. But building off of that, someone asked if there was like anything I could do with like an infinite budget or whatever. I forget the exact wording, but you're looking at it, that one. I would love to be able to do some sort of like Anthony Bourdain Travel Channel type bullshit. Go all over the world and check out like different scenes in local spots and check out the oh shit. I don't know, you get it. It's an Anthony Bourdain show, but you know, going to shows places and like getting a taste of the culture and the area, crashing on people's couches, going out to eat with like the band or whatever at the Denny's that they always go to. Something like that. I think something like that would be really cool. I think like I'd be really good at it, but like I don't see that ever happening for me. I could see like Rob Scallon doing something like that, but I would love to do it, but it will probably never present itself to me as an option. What are all the jobs you had before YouTube? I worked at a Wendy's. That was hell. I worked at a Spirit Halloween a few seasons. That was fun. I worked... Oh, look at all those vines. God, I hope I get to swing on one of them. And I also worked at, I did breakfast for a hotel. So, you know, when you go down and there's the complimentary breakfast and it's only available for like 2 hours and it's like way earlier than would ever be convenient. That was me. I did all that. That was the best job I ever had. There's a kitty. Hi, kitty. Anyways, what was I saying? Wendy's was terrible. Spirit was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. And honestly, I quite enjoyed the breakfast job. I think it was fun. It paid the best out of everything and the hours were decent. It was a good job. How do you feel being a YouTuber in 2025? Does it suck ass? Kind of. A little. I mean, I enjoy it, obviously, but there is a little bit of like a sting to the fact that AdSense in like 2012 was almost definitely more than double what it currently is, so that feels awesome. And I don't mean that in like a money hungry kind of way. It's just, you know, it's your job. You'd like to get compensated for your work, etc. And like, speaking of Wendy's, like they raised like what they paid Wendy's employees like a month after I left, which like, I'm happy that everyone is getting paid more, but why couldn't it have also been me? You know? Like, what the fuck, man? So yeah, I enjoy it, but it does suck knowing that it's probably the worst it's ever been pay-wise, which is really cool. Feelings and hopes for your future career. I know this isn't really what you're asking. What I have is more so a worry of what I hope doesn't happen, but I hope I don't become too big that it becomes cool to hate me. You see that happen a lot in more like alternative spaces or whatever, and I don't know. I hope I don't fall victim to it. I hope I remain small enough that, you know, it never becomes cool to shit on me. Other than that, I don't know, making cool videos and having people like them. I don't know. I don't really shoot for the moon. All of my aspirations, I think, are boringly reasonable. New merch soon? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm happy to announce, no. I do have plans for the next merch drop, but it's way too early to talk about any of that. But if you want to help me get rid of my current stock, here is a discount code for like 10% off or something. Everything there is really limited. I think there's only like 2 5XLs of the killer content, so please pick those up. And just to make more room in my closet, I also put up a bunch of used stuff. So if you want to get that, you can. Some of it is super cheap. Some of it is like stuff that's super rare, hasn't been sold in like 15 years or whatever, so it's going to be a little bit more pricey, but if anything is too expensive, there's the discount code, and also I will be lowering the prices every few days, just so, you know, it can be as fair as possible. It's first come, first serve though, so don't sleep on it. Check it out if you want. There's some cool stuff in there. I love birds, they're so cool. Were you prepared for fame? First of all, that's a very generous interpretation of the word fame. I do not have fame at all. I have niche internet clout, which ultimately boils down to, well, nothing in the real world. So thank you, but no, that doesn't apply to me. When it comes to people recognizing you in public, how would you prefer people come up to you? Just don't use my real name, because that makes me think like maybe I know you from somewhere and I'm forgetting and I'm an asshole. But if you refer to me as Crustbag, I'm like, okay, cool, I know our dynamic, and it won't be confusing. Because it would be really mortifying if I just like ran into someone I went to school with and I treat it as like a fan interaction. So cringe, ew, gross. What it really boils down to is don't stare at me for too long, just come up and say hi. I know when you're looking at me, with all due respect. So just come up and say hi. I'm nice, I promise. Look at this. Do you think it can support my weight? Let's find out the hard way. Oh, I kind of think it can. Oh, this might be a mistake. All right, best case scenario, I swing on a vine. Worst case scenario, I fall and it gets captured on camera and it's funny. I'm fine with that. Okay. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay. I'm going back for seconds because I'm greedy. Oh shit, oh my god. That was really cool, oh my god. All right, you know what, with that, I think I'm gonna call it. Thank you for coming on a little walk with me. This was fun. Now I'm gonna pass it off to me in the future so he could answer more questions. All right, take it away, me.
Whoa, was that a cool transition? I doubt it. Anyways, weird encounters with someone online/IRL. Honestly, I don't really have any of that with you guys. Y'all are pretty normal. And even when y'all are weird, it's fine, you know, it's chill. I'm mentally ill, you're mentally ill. I get it. We understand each other. It's fine. What has been the nicest and or most interesting fan interaction you've had / what's your favorite encounter? One time a dude came up to me at Maryland Death Fest and he gave me a hug and he told me that like I was doing such a good job and what you're putting out into the world matters, and it was like the most encouraging speech I've ever heard. And then he walked away and then I never saw him again. And I both say this as a joke, but there's a small part of me that's like, was that just an angel? What the fuck? That was amazing. I hate the term fan because like I'm not on a pedestal. I don't really matter. But one of my favorite genres of like interactions that I have with people who watch my videos is like when it's at a merch table. Because normally, you know, if you go to the merch table and you buy merch from the band and whatnot, like you're a little bit like, whoa, I'm talking to their guitarist or whatever. This is cool. Which I know is cringe to admit, but shut up. We all feel that way. So to have that dynamic completely flipped is very weird and honestly, I'll say it, really cool. To go up and be like, hey, can I get the large? And their response is just like, shout out to Bashton, Moisty, and Fromjoy, by the way. How do you decompress when you're out somewhere and overwhelmed by meeting people? Well, despite having social anxiety, meeting you guys is fine for me. So to be completely honest, I don't really, because like I feel safe with y'all. I will say though, one of my favorite like genres of interaction is like the drive-by. Like I'm waiting for an Uber or something and someone just like walks by, hey, love your vids, man. And I go, oh, thank you. And then that's it. That's kind of nice. Not a question, but can you say trans rights? Hell yeah, trans rights. 2 thumbs up. That's more than one. Trans people are my friends. Transphobes, come catch these hands. I have friends and loved ones who are trans. I've dated trans women before. If that bothers you, I don't know. Kill yourself? I don't know, dude. Any tips for people who want to start doing video essays? Much love from Brazil. Thank you. Only make videos about stuff you actually care about. When you're phoning it in, it might perform well, but like, who even cares? If you make videos that you sincerely want to make, then you won't even care if it underperforms or not. So that's kind of the secret sauce. Number 3, you can use humor as a shield from valid criticism. I do that all the time. Do it jiggle? On occasion. Does it get difficult trying to manage both the expectations of viewers and mental health? I don't know. I guess, but I don't know. I've kind of set up my channel to be very obviously an expression of things that I find interesting and that I want to talk about. So I think I've actually done a pretty decent job setting up expectations to be something that I can very easily achieve. And you know, it's pretentious to say, but you know, it's art. It is a form of self-expression. I kind of can't really get bogged down with what other people want because it's my expression. And maybe that's just cope, but guess what? It's cope that works, so I'm sticking with it. Show recap of this year. So far, these ones. What are some upcoming shows that you're going to this year? These ones. Are you planning to go to Sonic Temple next year? It depends on the lineup. Maybe. Maryland Death Fest 2026, going or not? I'm definitely going. If so, who are you most excited to see? I am most excited for Sex Prisoner. Very stoked for that. If you follow me on Twitch, you might be familiar with this notification. That's a Sex Prisoner song, so that's just, it'll be cool to hear that live. But speaking of live streaming, alright, take it away, me. Thanks, green screen me. I really appreciate it. Alright. Time to play a video game. This segue sucks. I'm rolling with it. Most unenjoyable game I have streamed. I hate to say unenjoyable because I did have fun with it, kind of ironically, but chat, you remember, it was, Lost Records or whatever, the Life is Strange type shoot off thing, whatever. I will say, even though that game was not the best, I had fun with it. I had fun making fun of it with chat, and that was a good time. And honestly, most of the games that I've played, I've really enjoyed, and I've had a lot of fun with. In fact, check it out. Here is all of the games I've played. They're on screen right now. I've played all of them. My favorite, if I had to pick, would either be any sort of boomer shooter. I really like those, and the point and click games. I really like those. Those are fun. Ivana Humpalot 420 asks, you should stream Manhunt. First of all, not a question. Second of all, were you not paying attention to the list I displayed? I already played it. Catch up. What's some of the best / worst moments you've had on stream? Okay, so best moments would have to be all the birthday streams I've done, just because those are just a huge blast. Like, usually I'm like a little bit under the influence, and like, you know, like people, there's like more people than normal. There's like 100 people all showing up just to you know, give me support, and I'm really feeling the love. And it's just such a wholesome, fun time. It gets a little rowdy, but I always like it. Worst moments I've had on stream, I think I did a stream a long time ago that I wanted to turn into a YouTube video. It was ranking presidents on whether or not they're either a top or a bottom just by like vibes. And really funny idea. That I think was really solid, but unfortunately, right when I hit go live, I had internet troubles, and the stream was just like just completely fucked, and I didn't understand. I didn't know why. I didn't know what was wrong. No one in chat said what's wrong. I just felt like I was bombing horribly, and I didn't understand why, and if I'm being honest, it was really upsetting. But then I just like restarted the stream, and then it worked just fine, and I just kind of switched on performance mode and did the lines, went through everything, but if I'm being honest, like, it kind of ruined the vibe for me, personally. I was able to just, you know, put on a persona and push through, but deep down on the inside, I was upset still, and I kind of needed time to walk away from it and come back, so I wasn't super happy with the end product, so that video never got made. But I wanted to put on a show because like a whole bunch of people showed up, and I didn't want to disappoint because that'd be so lame. Would you ever make a Twitch clips channel? Okay, so I've thought about it. It'd probably be a smart thing to do, but I use so much licensed music for like various bits and whatnot that I like uploading it to YouTube, I think might actually potentially cause issues with that. Oh, and also another reason why I'm kind of against it is I don't want to clog up people's feed. I wanted it to be like whenever I pop up on your feed, I wanted you guys to be like, oh yay, a new upload. And I feel like if I have a clips channel, then I'm popping up every single week, and in some ways that's good, but in other ways that kind of ruins the specialness of when I do upload something. You know what I mean? There's so many great moments that I feel bad that they don't actually get much traction outside of just like the VOD on Twitch for like 2 weeks or whatever. Any predictions for your streaming future? Yeah, but also not really. I don't have a set schedule or anything because I think that's kind of lame, but there's a lot of great games coming out and I want to play all of them, so I'm going to. When the child is tea, but the finna is gag, sis, I'm dead as child. Girl, real. Is it stressful having that many people watching? If so, what do you do about it? I mean, it is stressful. How many people are watching right now? Let's see. Right now there are 54 people watching, and although that's not a huge amount, that's also a lot at the same time. You know what I mean? So I've mentioned this before, and you could probably tell from me having to check. I cover up the live counter because I don't want to know how many people are watching me, so I could just focus on having fun and not have to feel the pressure of other people's eyes. So I always cover it up and just talk like I'm hanging out with my friends. That way I don't get freaked out by there being too many people or bummed that there's quote unquote not enough. And if I cover it, then I'm all good, you know? How do you deal with the idea that so many people are perceiving you and constantly have expectations they want you to meet? Also, congrats on 100K. Well, thank you. And also, what can I do about other people's expectations? Nothing, you know? Fuck them. I mean, it sucks that there are kind of other people's expectations that I need to meet, but like, what can I do about it? I can only be me, you know what I mean? And that's so cheesy to say, but also like, I can't be anyone else, you know? I could only just do my thing and hope that that's good enough. The being perceived on like a larger scale or whatever, that sucks, if I'm being honest. That's uncomfortable. I don't really like that too much. If I'm being honest, all of you guys are like really chill and cool and I like you, so in terms of you guys perceiving me, it's really not a big deal. It's fun to be able to talk to all of you and joke around with all of you on stream and meet some of you. I remember the couple that did a shot with me at Sonic Temple. That was so much fun. Being perceived in that way is really cool and unique and special, and I love it. Anyways, that's it for the streaming segment. I don't remember the segue to the next shot, so have you ever considered doing stand-up comedy? Yes, but I'm scared. I do think it would be an interesting challenge to kind of figure out, not quite my persona, because it's not like I'd be putting on a character, but like I'd have to present myself differently than I do in videos and differently than I do on stream, so like I would have to figure out in real time in front of people what exactly that would look like. I would love to do it, and I think I will probably do it at some point, but realistically I'm just gonna keep kicking the can further and further down the line and never actually end up doing it. What's a color other than black that you like wearing or an outfit you want to show off? Man, I love earth tones so goddamn much. People have asked for a video where I go through my collection of merch, but I kind of want to avoid being like a lifestyle influencer, because that's not at all what I do or am interested in doing. But since this is a Q&A, basically like weird offshoot bonus from my usual shit, I'll talk about some differently colored shirts that I have because I think they're really cool. First of all, tan. I'm a huge advocate for tan shirts. They look so good and not enough people give them a shot for some reason. I know you said other than black shirts, so this is a little bit of like an eye-rolly answer, but like pepper shirts. Pepper's cool. It's just dark gray with like a little bit of texture to it. I don't know, I like it. But keeping in line with earth tones, brown shirts. Brown shirts are cool. Bleached is just like, you know, a little bit of black, a little bit of tan, a little bit of brown. So I don't know why I'm showing this, but that. Green, dude. Green goes crazy. I love green. Oh yeah, and what I'm currently wearing, I just got this. This is sandstone, so it's like a little bit green, a little bit tan, which on paper sounds like it would just be like really barfy, but like it looks cool. It's a Metal Gear shirt, and it's really cool, honestly. I love this shirt. Look, got my girl Mei Ling. And lastly, dude, red shirts, I think, are some of the most underrated. It looks so cool. Black print on a red shirt looks amazing, and I wish more bands did it. And if they're not going to, maybe a YouTuber should at some point. I don't know, who's to say? Alright, that's enough of being a fashion influencer. I'm gonna move on. What do you think about the upcoming YouTube ID verification? Would you leave? No, because they already have my ID. Don't get me wrong, it does suck. I'm not at all trying to downplay it, but every single person that you watch on YouTube probably has had to submit their ID just so they could get money from ad revenue, so I doubt that that will be a deterring factor for anyone, for any creator, but I don't think that they should make viewers, you guys do that. That's really shitty and unfair and weird, and I love living in a surveillance state. Yay, freedom. Are there any long unscripted sections in your video essays? Not really. I do ad-lib sometime, but it is mostly scripted because I stumble over my words way too much that I kind of need to write a script to hold my hand throughout the process, because otherwise it takes me way too long to ramble and I like run out of breath. Next question. What surprised you the most about the business side of content creation? Pre-production is so important, and it feels like it should only really be important for like big production stuff like movies and whatnot, but even just small production stuff saves you so much time and energy, and it makes the end product a billion times better. And it kind of sucks because it's not at all flashy. It's really boring. It's planning stuff out in like spreadsheets and whatnot. It's not fun. But if you gotta like do a lot of it, otherwise the video itself will suck. Also, I'm not really sure if this counts as a business side. I think it kind of counts a little bit. But like sometimes, man, the shitty tactics that people use to try and like get like good watch time and then get some buzz around their videos. I hate to say it, but it works really well. I avoid doing it pretty much at all costs just because I think it is cheap and lame, and I feel like, you know, it sort of does a disservice to you guys when someone does like, you know, hit the like button as fast as you can challenge, like that kind of shit. I think that that's so cringe, but I did dip my toes into it a little bit once just to see what would happen for the worst tours video, which is now my most viewed video, which I'm sure is not a coincidence. I purposefully mispronounced something within the first two minutes, I believe, maybe first minute, so everyone that clicks on the video will need to be like, actually, and engage with it more. And the segment where I make fun of Ronnie Radke, I make sure that that was a clip on social media so he would get wind of it and, you know, complain about it fuck ton, and then I would get a whole bunch of additional views from that. I don't really like doing that. It feels icky. It feels weird to be like, I'm gonna stir up drama and do a little bit of, not clickbait, because that's not what mispronouncing something really is, but engagement bait. I just don't like it. It feels a little bit beneath me, but like, whoo, it works. Holy shit, it works really well. What's the hardest part of making a video? It's when you're sick of editing, but there's still more to do. Because at that point, you've gotten the video out of your system creatively. You now, like, you've made the thing that you wanted to see. It exists. It's not fully done and not fully polished, but like you're kind of emotionally done with it, but you have to go through all the tedious minutia of like, you know, making it ready for the general public, and that part is never fun. You always want to move on to something else, but you know, I don't want to be someone who starts a billion different projects and doesn't finish any of them. So sometimes you just have to sit down and grind even though you don't want to, just to get it done. I'm gonna do it with this video, same as I have with every other video. What's your favorite and least favorite part about making thumbnails? Posing for thumbnails is cringe, and there's no way around it. It's just like, There's no way to do that and not feel like a gigantic fucking loser. Also, if your idea for a thumbnail doesn't work, you just panic, because if there's not a good thumbnail, then people won't click on it, like just point blank. The thumbnail is arguably significantly more important than the video itself. So when you hit a wall, maybe 3 months worth of work is just gonna go completely down the drain, and that sucks when your income depends on it a little bit. But building off of that question, what's your favorite part from making videos? I just love fully realizing bits. Getting ideas out of my system just feels so good, dude. Like the video on band merch and logos are videos I've been wanting to see for over 10 years, and now it exists. And it's mine, and it's out. It's like, oh my god, it's a weight you don't really know you're carrying creatively until you finally let it free, and it's fucking awesome. That and the stage of writing where it's just shotgun blast, here's a billion ideas, that part's really fun. It's not fun to then look at like 20 pages worth of just a shotgun blast of ideas and have to like make sense out of it. That part sucks, but just the throwing things out there, that's always fun. Out of all the videos you've made, which was the easiest and the hardest? The merch videos was the easiest. I made it really quick. I don't know why. I was just really in the zone. Everything I wanted to say just kind of came out of me immediately. I found visual examples of all the stuff I was talking about very fast. I think I made that entire video in either 2 or 3 weeks, which is very fast for a one-person thing, for a video that is, in my opinion, pretty decently high quality. And the hardest to make would either be the green screen video essay on green screen video essays, or the extreme video essay, the soundtracks one, just because like the amount of assets I had to use. There's like 5,000, dude. That's a lot, both for a computer to handle and for my brain to handle. Jesus Christ. It's literally like a feature film's worth of assets that I'm working with as a one-person team. That's hard. There's no way around that. But I have plenty of smaller ideas that I'm going to be working on next, which will be really nice to have easy concepts that I can execute relatively quickly, as opposed to, 5,000 goddamn assets. Wands or staffs? That's a great question. I feel like that's kind of like if you want your class to be like tank or just like, regular. Staffs have more power, but like they're heavy. You have to kind of lug it around a little bit. It'd probably take like a good like 3-second charge to really get something out, But like wands, that's just bam. Well, pam. That's just like, that's quick, that's easy, that's nice. So for me personally, I'm gonna go with wand, but if I was like a big portly guy with like a beard or whatever, I'd probably pick a staff. What's your natural hair color? It's light brown, but it sort of looks blonde just because it's right next to the black. But it's brown. It has like a very slight reddish tinge to it, just a little bit. It depends on the lighting. I got my roots dyed recently, so you can't really see it, but trust me, I guess. God, my hair is messy. That's fine. There we go. Proudest moment since starting your YouTube channel? Honestly, probably getting this, because like, what the fuck? I shouldn't own this. This is crazy. It's just like, damn, dude. It's crazy that I have this, like, genuinely. Thank you guys so much, because, like, what the fuck? And my band wants to sample you. Can we? Yes, of course. I love it when bands do that. Every time it happens, it makes me smile. It's so fucking cool. Please send it my way when you do. And alright, that's it. Let's do an unnecessary scene change. Get in there. Hello, I'm over here now. Now we're over here. Opinion on Robert Eggers and his movies. Man, I just don't like them. They're just so weird and they're so confusing. Like, they must have been on drugs when they made this, right, guys? And it's just like, I just don't understand how anyone could watch like all that like doom and gloom. It's just so, I just hate it. Favorite Cronenberg film? I'm gonna go with The Fly and Videodrome. Very basic examples, but like I sampled Videodrome in one of my songs because I like it. It's fun. Multiple people ask me my favorite Scooby-Doo movie, and it's a 3-way tie between like Cyber Chase, Alien Invaders, and the first live action. They're just all fun, I'm aware that they've made many more Scooby-Doo movies since I was a child, but to be completely frank, I haven't watched them. I'm 25. I'm gonna watch other stuff. What Final Destination death is your favorite? That's a great question. The one where the dude gets like cut into thirds by a barbed wire fence that gets exploded and then flies towards him. I like that one. The log through the windshield is a very basic answer, but like it's top tier. The kid dying in Bloodlines, that one's fun. I've never heard an audience laugh and cheer more for a child death than that scene, so that was cool. There's definitely others that I'm forgetting, but like that's all I could think of off the top of my head. Stuff about the worst movie I've ever seen, that's an easy one. It's the Martyrs remake. Fucking terrible movie. I hate that movie. Some movies are so bad that like they kind of end up becoming good in a way. Like they're so bad it's good. You could laugh at it. You could laugh at how bad it is. But Martyrs, it just has zero redeeming qualities. It looks bad, it sounds bad, it's not entertaining, it's not scary, it looks cheap, it is completely pointless because it's a remake. Like I know like me saying, oh, it's the worst movie I've ever seen, there's a little bit of like, oh, I gotta check it out then. No! It has no redeeming qualities. Watching paint dry is a better use of your time. There is no fun to be had with this movie. It just sucks. Top 10 favorite horror movies. I cannot narrow it down to 10, so I'm just going to talk about a bunch that I like. I don't know if they'd be my favorite, but I like them. Evil Dead, both the remake and the original. Just perfect. I love them. I like the remake way more than most people seem to. But fuck it, that's fine. I love it. It's so much fun. Jane Levy's delivery of "you have to get me out of here" is like some of the best horror movie acting I've ever seen. She is so badass in that movie and so scary. Just amazing performance that I don't know how anyone could watch it and be like, 2 out of 5 stars. Fuck you. The Sadness, dude. So dope. I love it. So many people were like, this is too mean-spirited. Okay, pussy. But I liked it. It's fucked up, but fun. Nosferatu, that's an easy one. The Substance, body horror. It's not just outright horror or whatever, but like, fuck it, it counts. Terrifier 3, super fun. I had a huge blast with it. It's another movie that people said was way too mean-spirited, but if you can stomach it, it's fun. Beau is Afraid. Now this one's kind of controversial. I know a lot of people hated it. I loved it. Does every aspect of it work? Cough, cough, the giant monster. No. That was really stupid. That lost me. But for me personally, as someone with really bad anxiety, it kind of answers the thing that like a lot of people with mental illness kind of think maybe on occasion, which is just like, what if all my paranoid delusions are actually real and I'm living in like a Truman Show of misery? And that's what this movie makes that real. And that's really scary if you kind of already live with that inkling of doubt. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people didn't like it, but for me, I think it like perfectly executes the feeling of anxiety and like the feeling of guilt, both deserved and self-imposed. The feeling of being a disappointment despite trying your best. That gets illustrated really well. The feeling of living in a world that is like increasingly more and more insane and desensitized to violence, and you can't acknowledge it, otherwise you're like being weird and depressing even though like everything is just insane. The feeling of like people being mad at you and you're not sure why. This movie does that amazingly. It's not perfect, but when it hits, it's awful. I love it. Talk to Me is great. Hereditary is great. It is great. Suspiria, Mother. Malignant is really dumb, but it is insanely fun, so I don't give a shit. It's not quite campy, but it has like that B-movie heart to it. You know what I mean? I like it. Wreck, a lot of people either seem to love or hate this movie. I'm not really sure why. I think people get it confused with its American remake, which kind of like, I can get that, but like the original's great. And like I said this in my Letterboxd review, but I love that it is literally the plot of like that one 9/11 documentary that we all were forced to watch in schools. It's literally the exact same plot, but replace terrorists with zombies. And it's literally the same film. It does have a little bit of that early 2000s filmmaking that I don't think ages the best, but like this shot,
amazing. Also, Mandy, The House That Jack Built, As Above, So Below. Also, not a great movie, but like I love the Indiana Jones plus horror vibe that it got going on. I find that fun. Perfect Blue, funny games. I don't remember anything about Antlers except for after I watched it, I was like, that was good, that was fun. I remember there was a lot of blood, and the gore was amazing, but I also don't really remember anything about it, so it probably shouldn't be on this list, but I'm including it. Lights Out, first of all, any YouTuber turned actual film director that makes, like, feature-length films, hell yeah. Tip of the beanie to them. That's so cool. And, like, it's scary, dude. Might not be scary to everyone, but it had me peeking through my fingers. 1408 is not that good, but I really like it, so fuck it. The Ritual, I don't think gets enough credit. I think it's pretty good. The Road, not a horror movie, but like, jeez, it might as well be. It is the bleakest movie I've ever seen. Get Out, of course, that movie's great. When Evil Lurks and Terrified are not, I would not say that they're one of my favorites, but they both left a huge impression. Even though the second one is really not that good. There's a very matter-of-factness to all the paranormal stuff in those movies that just I think is really cool. And Terrified, even though it kind of gets a little bit progressively worse the more you watch it, every single jump scare pissed me off. I don't immediately resort to anger, but that every jump scare got my ass, and ooh. Also, Us, The Lighthouse, and The Thing. And alright, now I'm gonna move on. Favorite directors, I'm gonna go with Danny Boyle. Gaspar Noé, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I really love his work. Lars von Trier, very fun, lighthearted filmmaker. Wes Anderson, Jordan Peele, Oz Perkins, and the Raka Raka Boys. Once again, YouTubers turned filmmakers, and they're really good, so fuck yeah. Alright, now it's time to read more questions in the dark this time. Why? I don't know, because I thought it would be cool. Favorite piece of novelty merch. Now, there's a lot out there, so it makes it really hard to think of a favorite piece, but I'm going to have to go with Iron Lungs ibuprofen, just because it's really funny to me. I don't know why. What hair products do you use? I don't know what you mean by products. I don't really put anything in it, if that's what you're asking. My shampoo and conditioner is the BB Straight brand, if that's what you want to know. I have always considered using the mane and tail stuff. Never have used it, but I know a lot of women swear by it, and it's like cheap, but I just haven't worked up the courage to switch up my usual routine. What made you move to Ohio? I like living indoors. Why did you choose to live in a small town? You think I chose to live here? That's cute. How do you cope with moving? I've moved a lot recently, and it's taking a toll. Yeah, it just kind of sucks, but you get used to it. A lot of aspects of it are very uncomfortable, but a lot of aspects of it are also like a fun new adventure. So I choose to just focus on the new adventure part, because that's always cool. What is the local scene like where you're at? Are you able to participate in it regularly? I haven't really fully integrated, especially because I'm like 2 hours away from every major city. You know, so I don't know. It's really easy if you live in a place for long enough, you know, like in Utah, like I grew up there. Half the people I went to high school with or knew from the internet for like 10 years straight. And I don't really have that luxury over here, which is a bummer, but like, I don't know. It's whatever. I go to shows when I can, and I'm nice to people, and I don't know. Does that count? Do you have a funny / weird story about local scene stuff? Yes, I do. Okay, so one time I was just sitting there minding my own business in between sets. I was scrolling on my phone or whatever, and there were two guys about like 4 feet away from me, and they were having a discussion. I couldn't really hear what about, but I felt like they were talking about me. And then at one point, the other dude just goes, "The guy with the glasses?" And the other guy goes, "Yeah." And then they just turn around, stare at me. Yeah. And it was like, what was that? So like they were obviously talking about me,
but like I don't know what they were it's either like they recognize me from the internet and they just were talking about me but didn't go up and say hi, or it's like, but like I don't want to assume that because I don't matter, so I'm like, am I gonna get robbed later? Like, what the fuck is happening? That's the only weird story, but it's really weird to just have strangers talk about you, look at you, and then go back to talking, and then that never has any sort of resolution. Like, it's just, don't do that. It's odd. As your popularity has grown, how well do you think you've handled the parasociality of content creation? I don't really matter enough for people to be weird outside of, I guess, going, look at that guy with glasses, that's the guy, and then nothing ever happens. But I don't know, I'm lucky that, like, I don't matter enough for people to be too weird. Like, no one's like, I got your face tattooed on my back or anything like that. Like, I don't matter. Does that answer your question? What software do you use to edit? Final Cut. What software do you use for making music? Ableton. Favorite video format? I don't really have a favorite, but since I use Final Cut, I just use .mov. And my favorite codec is 8.264 since it's most compatible with YouTube. Does anyone on Earth give a shit about this answer? I don't know. How do you feel about furries? They're cool. I don't really have an opinion, frankly. If you had a fursona, what animal would you be? You know what? I could answer this question. Or furries. Let me know in the comments below what animal you think I'd be. Before YouTube, what was your dream job when you were a kid? Well, I have never once dreamed of labor, not to sound too woke, but at no point in my childhood was I like, yes, working, like that. But speaking more generally, I, unfortunately, from a very young age, it was like, man, I have to do entertainment, which sucks, because life would probably be so much easier if I was like, yeah, being an electrician would be cool, but no, I have to go into the field that is like the worst job security humanly imaginable, and that sucks a little bit, but I don't know. I knew it had to be entertainment, and I'm glad I'm here. Any opinions on footwear and alternative culture? Things like Doc Martens and Converse, for example. I love big old goth boots. I think they're so cool. I do not own a pair. I don't really have any interest in owning a pair. They seem like they would hurt to wear, but I really like it on other people. I think they're super dope. What shoes do you wear? I have a pair of old Doc Martens that I got when I started high school, and I'm still fucking wearing them. They still fit. They look decent. Sometimes they look like shit, and I have to clean them up. But you know, they're trusty, and I like them. Do you have any favorite reoccurring bits when you do while streaming? I like to invite my roommate, Brock Chadsley, who is just me wearing sunglasses. If you've watched some of my older videos, you've definitely seen him at some point. He's a great guy, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a recurring bit, but during my my Silent Hill 2 playthrough, chat pointed out that whenever I get scared, I try and like ease the tension by like fearfully singing a song. I do it both because it's funny and also, you know, chat pointed out that it's a self-soothing mechanism. So it's not a bit I do intentionally, but whenever I play a horror game, I always end up singing a little song, and it's so fucking stupid, but it's funny. How many hot dogs can you eat in a single sitting? 6. Unless if hot dogs is like a euphemism for penis, in which case the answer is also probably still 6. What's your sexuality? I'm kind of confused. Honey, that makes 2 of us. Did you struggle in school? If so, do you have advice for those who are? I didn't really struggle in school. Not to flex. I struggled a lot with math, but that was it. But yeah, math fucking sucked, but thank God for cheating. My only advice is really just like, dude, once you're done with school, you never have to deal with that shit ever again. It's amazing. School is your entire life, and then it is no part of your life. It's both culture shock and such a relief, such a breath of fresh air. Who was your favorite YouTuber as a kid? Man, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're all canceled, so I don't know if I want to admit to any of them. I will say though, growing up with YouTube, I do feel gives me an advantage in terms of creating stuff, because like I know what people are feeling. I know what people are thinking, to a certain degree. You know, you can't please anyone, but I like being a part of the wave of people who are now making stuff, who grew up watching YouTube. I feel like we have a little bit of an unfair advantage. Are you going to do another underrated albums of the year this year? Yes, it is a yearly installment. As long as people create music that I like, I'm gonna find an excuse to talk about it. All right, I'm gonna go somewhere where you can actually see me now. Oh, how do you cope with OCD? Mine's been going crazy because of life events. I don't know if I'm a person to come to for advice on this kind of stuff. As long as my head and at least one of my wrists is covered, it makes me feel like safe and secure, and as long as everything is clean and whatnot, obviously. But I don't really know if that's coping with OCD or succumbing to OCD. I don't know. I'm not a good person to come to when it comes to this. What is the most challenging thing about OCD for you? Honestly, the contamination aspect is not that big of a deal. Random people aren't coming into my space and touching everything and moving it, so it really doesn't come up that often. The unwanted thoughts and like getting caught in a loop and everything is especially hard if I'm streaming, because I also have to stream with no filter, and even though it's never resulted in anything bad, it has resulted in occasional moments where I need reassurance from chat. That's something that I thought didn't actually happen, and you just sort of look like a crazy person. That never feels particularly good, but that's really the only challenging thing, is really just because that's kind of public and there's really no way around it. But I don't know, people who watch my videos know that shit. I've talked about it tons of times, so it's whatever. Has OCD affected your ability to create? Not really the creation part, but it does fuck up some aspects of this job. Like whenever I fulfill merch orders, I can't just be normal about it. I can't go, okay, a large green shirt, cool, large green, I got the large green, let's put it in and done. I always get caught in a loop and I gotta like check everything like a dozen times, and it makes fulfilling merch orders take way longer than it needs to, but at least it is relentlessly thorough, which is a plus, I guess, but I'd rather just be normal. I'm including this question just really because like I feel like a lot of people forget that neurodivergence as a term is like a really fucking wide umbrella. I feel like the internet just thinks it's a term for autism, and it's like, no, it's more than that, but also, what am I gonna do? Be irritated that people with autism are failing to pick up on like social nuances? It's fine, you know, they get a pass, but also like just a reminder, no, it's a large umbrella. From an outside perspective, it seems like you really know who you are. How did you achieve that? That's really cool that I give that impression, because that is not the case. Unfortunately, when it comes to like making stuff on the internet, it's pretty sink or swim in terms of dealing with the unwanted opinions of others on a mass scale, and about like a decent chunk of them are just gonna be mean and shitty for no reason. You either sink, aka either you just stop posting altogether, you turn off your comments, or you get into fights all the time. Or you swim, which basically just means you kind of just harden yourself and kind of learn to just disregard people fucking giving you their 2 cents on everything all the time. And that usually comes off as appearing figured out, but in reality, nope. I'm just swimming. Which video are you most proud of that didn't do as well as you hoped? The radios video, man. Come on. Not a question, but I wanted to say that your video game radios vid is my favorite of yours. See, someone gets it. I'm gonna sit over here now, because my back kind of hurts. Alright, that works, sure. Do you like the community you've made? Yeah. What do you enjoy most about having a community that appreciates your art? I just enjoy that I have one, frankly. Nothing was more discouraging than telling a good joke or having a really solid bit and only like 4 people laugh, not because it's not funny, but because there's only 4 people there. It's like, no, I'm confident with myself that I know that would have done really well if there was just an audience, but there just isn't one. And now that there is an audience, it's like, there we go, fucking thank God, finally. It just sucks when no one really cares, man, but to have people care is honestly really huge. Can you make something for 100K, like a cake or something? Alright, sure. Yeah, I'll be right back. Welcome back to Cooking with Crust Bag. Today I'm going to be showing you how to bake a cake. First I add some eggs, and then some water, and then some more water, and then some oil, and then I beat it like it owes me money. Then I bust out a mixer to pulverize it until it's nice and smooth. And you know me, audience, I love food coloring, and black just felt like an obvious choice, and I went with red too, just to give it a meaty appearance. Then I swirl it around, dump it, and now I have a nice meat cake. Once it's done baking, I proceed to ruin its meaty appearance by throwing on some buttercream. It might not look good, but this is my favorite kind of icing, so fuck it. Then I scoop it out and spread it like I owe someone else money. Now that that's done, I realized I needed some squeezable icing, and the only one I'd had access to was some like leftover stuff my mom got on accident. But would you look at that? It works great. Shit. And since this is a celebration cake, we also gotta add some candles. And wow, would you look at that? It looks like shit, but will it taste good? Maybe. Alright, it looks horrendous, but let's see whether or not it tastes horrendous. Oh, that rules, actually. This was a good idea. Thank you very much for the suggestion. What aspect of content creation I don't think gets talked about enough? I've mentioned it a little bit already, but like 3/4 of these motherfuckers have production teams, and they're just not acknowledging it. It kind of ruins the I'm just a guy with the camera, man, down to earth personality if there's like, you know, a team of 5 people and a boom operator and all that shit. And like I said, I do not blame them for keeping it a secret, but it is a little bit of a bummer for me as an actual one-person team to be compared to people who have like budgets and people on payroll. What the fuck? I don't have that. Who/what do you think influenced your editing/writing style you use in your videos? Scott the Waz, Noodle, Super Eye Patch Wolf, Cold Ones, I love their editing, Nakey Jakey, and Super Mega. Do you have an end goal for the channel? Nope. As a YouTube guy who talks music, any thoughts on the state of YouTube music talk/content right now? I've said it before and I'll say it again, a lot of it kind of is ass, if I'm being totally real. I hate saying that. I think it's kind of rude, especially to like my coworkers or whatever. I just can't handle another like grandma reacts to Slipknot video and it has like 1 million views. That's so cheap to me. I don't know. And like I can't do another like this logo says what? I hate that. It's so annoying. But people like Rob Scallon, Paige Fire, Jared Alonge, top tier, really great stuff. If it wasn't for Jared's channel, I doubt I'd be making videos, frankly. Same with Paige Fire as well. Same with all of them. I don't know why I listed them all. And like obviously there are others. I'm not saying anyone that isn't them sucks. Obviously, calm down. But like they're doing a great job, and it's not just annoying clickbait bullshit. They're actually saying stuff, and it's like fun and interesting, and I love that. I love that. Anything less than that I think is kind of cheap. Best channels on YouTube that record live shows like Hate56 and 197 Media. Them, because they're awesome. Leo's local, he does a lot of great stuff. I'm in some of them too, which is neat. Stench Reel, Jack's Tracks, and like whoever does Obscene Extremes videos, they're fun. How long does it usually take you to write a script for a video, including research and writing? It depends, but always too long. Unfortunately, I care about quality, which on YouTube is, you kind of just need to pump bullshit out as fast as humanly possible, regardless of quality. So the fact that I care a little bit about quality is a downside. And like I'm not interested in being like second screen entertainment. This video is different. This is just me talking. If you haven't looked at your screen this entire video, you haven't really missed much. But outside of Q&As, my goal is to not be second screen, and my goal is to actually capture and hold your attention and have it be worth it, and not just like a one-take rambling session of some bullshit, me reading ChatGPT or whatever. How do you cut a sandwich? I don't usually. I just like, who has the time? It's all going in me, so who gives a shit? What would a crust bag video game look like? Okay, it'd either be a point and click game or some kind of boomer shooter. Either way though, it's gonna be like really heavily compressed photographs making up everything. Yeah, that. Would you ever consider doing live shows for Industrial Forest? No. I'm scared. Favorite boot accounts? Great question. I have a bunch. As you mentioned, Isolation Man, the GOAT. Speaking of which, we have Goat Witch Goods, Death Charger, Chaos Theory, Till Death Press, Nervous Design, Scorpion Home Video, Castle Crypt, Morning Glory, Espionage.vr, Restricted.vr, and From the Void. All of them I love. I only actually have shirts from like half of them, but yeah. Bootlegs are cool. If I could forget a piece of media and experience it for the first time again, what would it be? Very basic bitch answer, but dude, Breaking Bad. That's just, love it. Can you show off all your DIY projects? I did last Q&A video. What's your favorite long sleeve you own? Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna find one. Alright, I gotta be real with you. This is a very hard decision. It's like asking a parent to pick their favorite child, but they have like 100 children. But, if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with this Vomit Forth shirt. I love the logo. I love the way it is like tastefully aged a little bit. And I like that the sleeves are completely blank, except for their logo on the very end. That's kind of a cool design choice I haven't seen before. And it got my boy Jesus on the back. Amen. You know, if I had to pick a favorite, I'll go with this one. What's your favorite piece of merch you've released? Industrial Forest as well. Probably the Killer Content shirt. It's just fucking awesome. It's my first ever t-shirt, and Nightmare Imagery did a great job. Morbid Gardens logo is killer, and I was really pleased with like inverting it for the front design and just having it be regular for the sleeves, so you get a little bit of variation despite it just being the logo. And I'm also really happy with how the Portals Eroding tapes turned out with like the purple tape and everything. I like that if you open it up, it feels like you're going into, you know, some kind of purple portal, and it's like, it works. I'm really proud of that. What do you use to make your t-shirts and or logo designs? I use DMs to commission artists, and then I just slap it all together. A lot of graphic design, at least for me, it's sort of like putting together IKEA furniture. It's like, I cannot in good conscience be like, I made this, I'm a carpenter. But also, it's like, it would have just been pieces unless if I put it together, and I put it together to make it be something really cool, but like, I don't think I should deserve the credit for all these amazing stuff. When did you get into Photoshop, and how long have you been doing that kind of stuff? I took an elective class on it in high school, and I've forgotten 90% of that information, but it's enough to get the ball rolling so you can feel like you can do stuff. I know just enough to scrape by, and that's good enough for me. How do you feel about Clowncore? I've been a fan of them since 2018. They're really fun. Why did you shut down your Discord server? Do you think you're gonna make another one? I only made it because so many people were asking for it, and there's like way too many people that there's like no way to moderate it appropriately, and it's just like, wow, this is a lot of work for a thing I didn't really have any interest in to begin with. Fuck that. How do you control the pacing of your videos? Pacing is almost entirely an editing thing, so I try my best to have every cut feel as natural as humanly possible. Will you bring back the hypocrisy video? No pressure, just thought it was a good idea. First of all, thank you. Second of all, yeah, in some form. It's going to have a completely different topic, but in a way it will be. What's the maximum amount of people, if any, you would sacrifice to save yourself? It really depends on if I get to choose who, or if it's just people at random. If it's people at random, I have no idea. If I get to choose, whoo, gonna be doing some spring cleaning. What are your thoughts on straight edge? It's cool. I fuck with it. I agree with like 100% of it. It's just, I also think that it's fun to take a quarter of an edible once every month and a half. And I think that that's fine. It's like veganism. It's like, man, hell yeah to all of that. I'm not a part of it, but like, 2 thumbs up. Keep doing what you're doing. This framing is horrible. I'm gonna move to a different spot. What are your thoughts and opinions on posers? I don't know. I'm 25. I don't give a shit. In my personal experience, my observation is whenever someone is trying to get into something, and they're trying to convince themselves or others that they're really into this thing, usually comes from a place of just sincere wanting to be interested in it. And if they're not, they're gonna move on to something else in like less than a year. So like, who cares? I hate to say the trash takes itself out because that's a little harsh, but like, they deal with themselves after a very short period of time. Who gives a shit? If you had to pick one genre to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Electronic music, just because I think you get the biggest variety. If you want some heavy stuff, electronic. If you want some light stuff, electronic. If you want something fun, electronic. If you want something you could dance to, electronic. If you want some ambient, electronic. It's just kind of the most malleable, so if I had to narrow it down to one forever, electronic is a good bet. Have I been kicked out of a venue / bar / club, etc.? No, but I have been denied entry. That feels awesome. It was a City Morgue show, and I showed the bouncer my ID, and he just said, nope. And then I was like, excuse me? And he was like, no, you're gonna have to give me a real ID. And I was like, I just did. And he was like, nope. And he put it in his back pocket, and I was like, but I was 23 when this happened or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. And I just refused to leave because that's my ID and he stole it. You can only confiscate an ID if it is in fact a fraudulent ID. If it's a real ID, that's called stealing, buddy. I ain't fucking going home. Fuck you. So I just stood there holding up the line that was extremely long, by the way, making everyone's jobs harder. And I was like, all right, well, look, you're going to have to call the police for them to confiscate it anyways. I know how this works, so I'm just going to wait here until they come so they can tell you that it's real, and then I could go inside. And then he called his boss over. His boss, no joke, just took one look at it. Yeah, that's real. Sorry. And then I went in, and that was really fun. Really cool. Love being treated like a criminal for having an ID. I don't know. Fuck that guy. Fuck that idiot. Anything challenging about being an influencer? Aw, get the world's smallest violin out. It's hard making YouTube videos. But real talk, the burden of perception 24/7 to your face, and it's wrong 85% of the time. Am I really supposed to pretend like that doesn't suck ass, dog? That's awful. And when you're stuck in a permanent state of being perceived, it's hard to ever, like, feel comfortable at any point, kind of. Like, even for bullshit that, like, does not matter. Like, I remember posting a TikTok back when I did that still. Like, I remember earlier that day, just very normal, like, I looked at my hands and I was like, oh yeah, I should trim my nails later today. It wasn't gross. It wasn't disgusting. It was literally just, you've thought that sometime within the past 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I should trim my nails sometime today. I made the naive mistake of thinking, well, that's fine. I can post a video. Surely 100 people aren't gonna yell at me about it or anything. And it's like, damn, bro, no wonder people are doing lip injections just so they could badly react to stuff. Like, holy shit, you can't not be like picture perfect camera ready. You can never just like be chillin', no makeup on or anything like that. Like, fuck, man. The internet killed casual and then went, aw, what happened to casual videos? Like, you did, motherfucker. Come on now. Have you ever thought about doing collabs with other creators? If so, who? And dream guest for a vid? I don't know. My formats of videos, I don't know what on earth another person would do. I have some ideas that I'm hanging on to, of course, but like overall, I don't know what another person would do. The only thing I could think of is like stuff it would be cool if I got invited onto, like Super Mega Cast or something like that. I think that I would like to be a guest on that. I feel like I could riff with them really well, but like That's not for me to decide, you know? How do you deal with imposter syndrome? If you do, that is. I don't ever really. The internet's not real. It would be totally different if I was like in a movie acting with like a bunch of actors and I'm also there. That would feel a lot like, you know, I'd get imposter syndrome from that. But the only difference between me standing in my room filming a video with to no subscribers or 100,000 is almost literally nothing. I'm not hanging out with big old famous YouTubers or anything like that. I'm alone in a room in Ohio. It's not really glamorous that I feel like I'm like out of my depth or anything like that. Sorry if you've answered this, but I'm new. How did you and your partner meet? I'm sorry for laughing because I know you said you're new and I don't want to make fun of you, but I legitimately have no fucking clue who this is in reference to. Who do you think I'm dating? I'm curious at this point. Is it the person I dated in high school that we haven't posted a picture together in like 6 years? Because I feel like that would, be a clue. And I know it wouldn't be my last relationship because we kept that a secret. So I don't know who you're talking about. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna break out the old green screen and do that now. Is there a video you wish you would put more time into? Literally every single video, but like you gotta draw the line somewhere, Has a comment ever kept you up at night / something you regret doing / not doing? Yeah. In the green screen video essay on green screen video essays, I was making an argument for how in small, specific ways, internet content can have an advantage over film, sometimes and in small, specific ways, due to the nature of the format and audience's expectations. I felt like I made my point pretty clear and in a kind of humorous way, but apparently I needed to say sometimes and in small, specific ways at least 10 more times. That's my bad. And I was speaking from a personal standpoint about production, not just generally across the two mediums. I don't think actors are stupid for acting, just that I would feel a little silly putting on a British accent and pretending my name is Reginald. I feel like that's actually totally fair, but apparently it's crazy. Granted, I could have worded things better. I did exaggerate some things in an obviously lighthearted way, but also you mean to tell me that the part where I said that video essays are better than Hollywood in a very sarcastic, douchey tone, and then the Bad to the Bone riff played while I put on sunglasses? You mean to tell me that that was too subtle? That's not exactly a beacon of authenticity. And I don't want to be annoyed by it too much because, I totally understand that, sometimes people are just on the spectrum and they can struggle to pick up on social cues and sarcasm to some degrees. And maybe someone's watching a video while scrolling on their phone, so they missed half of the visual information only to get mad at me about it for some reason. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's still a little annoying. I gotta be real with you, I didn't know what I was saying could have had people disagree with me, let alone be huge dicks about it. I just described what it was like making stuff from personal experience and observation. And I naively assumed that the internet wouldn't blow things out of proportion, but it's the internet, so that's on me for assuming something kind of reasonable. I regret not wording it a little clearer, but also, there's no way you think that I think that King Cobra JFS is better than Francis Ford Coppola. Calm the fuck down, dude. King Cobra is a legend, rest in peace, but do I really need to clarify that I don't think that, I didn't even think that me saying that hiring big-name pop culture icons can break immersion, because directors purposefully cast unknown actors for certain roles that when they weren't to, increase immersion. That's, a well-known thing in filmmaking. I didn't think that that was controversial, because, that's just a fact. And I could have sworn that, Ed Sheeran's cameo in Game of Thrones was something that everyone hated because it broke their immersion, but apparently that's a hot take, I guess. I don't know. I'm not saying generally that cameos or big name actors are bad. Of course not, just that they can be, and in small, specific ways. You get it? And I'm whining, of course, but I do regret not wording it a little bit more clear. I also spent most of my life going to film schools, so I'm super used to environments where, people are writing entire thesis papers on focal length or whatever. So talking about very specific niche pros and cons of aspects of filmmaking and content creation might just kind of get viewed as very general statements instead of an analysis. I also feel like sometimes people kind of forget that making video essays, going over the pros and cons of something, or making an argument for something, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to agree with every single point being made. Acknowledging that there are two sides of a coin isn't flip-flopping over which one's better, it's just being thorough. It's just good writing. And there are times where the internet kind of forgets that, or purposefully forgets that just so they can get mad at something. It's a little bit hard to tell sometimes. And I know that I'm talking about this for way too long, but
It's because I love movies. I love the art of filmmaking. I love filming stuff. I love writing. You know, the majority of my life has revolved around those things, which is why I spent 8 years of my life pursuing it and seeking out higher education on the subject. It is my favorite art form, and if I'm being honest, it is kind of upsetting that a lot of people seemingly think that I hate it, because I think that sometimes celebrity cameos can break immersion and that the lack of a fourth wall is a benefit that video essays have over film, and that's it. Yeah, that's a little upsetting. It's like saying that you wish your husband/wife would take the trash out every now and again, only for like 100 people to inform you that you actually hate your loving partner for saying that. I don't feel that way about my partner. Maybe you're just a piece of shit. And I know that that's a very crazy comparison, but that's what it's like to me, you know? It strikes a nerve. But being a person on the internet, you learn that there is no amount of disclaimers or clarifying or making sarcasm super obvious that's going to stop people from putting words in your mouth only to get mad at the words that they put there. So would wording it better have actually changed anything? I highly doubt it. The internet is prone to this, oh, you like dogs, so you must hate cats then, type of mentality that you will be on the receiving end of regardless of how you phrase things. But, you know, that's my answer/rant. Alright, moving on. If you were an animal, what animal would you be? Otter. I love otters. I think that they're awesome, and also whenever I ask someone else to pick an animal for me, they always pick otters, so I'm going with that. Was there ever a time you considered giving up? Kind of. I was making YouTube videos for a while, and I was like, hopefully this will go somewhere, maybe it won't, but I gotta give it a shot. And it was around the Incel or Metal Lyrics game show video that, like, I was like, alright, maybe this isn't working out, and I'm gonna have to stop doing this soon. And then that video got like 250,000 views in a week. So I was like, all right, cool, never mind. How has your music taste changed over the years? It hasn't really changed. It's mostly just expanded. Kind of a pretentious answer, but that's the truth. Why do you think there are so many conservatives in the scene? Where? I think you might be confusing people complaining on Twitter with the scene, which is a fair thing to switch up, but I think that the two are very different. I don't think that people who loved Rage Against the Machine until they got political are the scene. I think that they're just like dumbasses on the internet. I've seen people in like TikTok comments section threads being like, you know, it's actually more punk to be a conservative now. And then like a huge back and forth fight happens only for it to basically end with the dude who said that going like, oh, I've never cared for the music at all. I'm just talking, basically. The people with blank profile pictures complaining on the internet are not the scene. They don't go to shows. They just complain online. Damn near every single show I've been to since moving here, to a red state might I add, is basically just this. So, do they show up a lot to like Five Finger Death Punch shows and like Disturbed? Absolutely. But like shows where like the heart of the community and the scene lives? Hell no. Conservatives aren't going, wow, this looks fun. I sure hope it doesn't get woke later, and if it does, I'll complain. I'm not delusional, obviously. There's tons of pockets and subsections and all that shit. You can find just about any kind of person interested in anything. But like, there aren't much grindcore songs about how police need to get paid more money, actually. Alright, this next one is an old one. If you know the words, sing along. It's called I Don't Care That He Was in the Files, They Weren't Real, and if they were, it's not even a big deal. And remember that if someone falls down, you pick them up, unless if they look different than you, then it's bad. I wanna see y'all move side to fucking side. This one's about how violent video games need to be banned. Y'all having fun? Is anyone, you know, toked up? Yeah? Fucking arrest him! This next one is very near and dear to my heart. It's about how schools are being defunded and all that money is just going to billionaires and the military and how that's fucking sick as hell. This next song is all about rebelling. It's called I personally agree with what the regime is doing, and I think it's fine. This next one is off of our last EP. It's a split with Ted Cruz. It's called Libraries and Public Transportation is Gay. Some people say that fascism has no place in extreme music, and we're here to say, now hold on. This next song is all about how comedy is now legal. Unless if it's like a joke, like at our expense, then it's terrible and you should go to prison forever. Okay, so you know how like D-beat, like the joke with that is war bad, war bad. What about a D-beat band that's like war is actually kind of super masculine and it's definitely not woke, so war maybe? I don't. If you like what you hear, make sure to check out our brand new album. The album cover is all AI. It's so awesome. We got a merch table in the back. We don't really sell shirts. We mostly sell NFTs. 100% of the profits go to supporting ICE agents in need. This one is called "Oh No, I Saw a Drag Queen and Now I'm Scared." This one's a new one. It's about how having a secret police that cover their face and basically just kidnap people by throwing them into unmarked vans, that's actually like a good thing. And even if it was bad, they're just following orders. So it's not even a big deal. All right, hit it. We released a song recently. It's a cover of the national anthem. Thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. This next one comes from a real place. It's about how the Bible should be taught in schools. Go play. I don't know. Anyways, did that answer your question? What's your body count? I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. Who keeps track? That's serial killer behavior. Are you afraid to die? Wow, what a shift in tone. I guess. I don't know. Is your music only on YouTube or is it also on Spotify? It's dark ambient, so why would I put it anywhere other than Bandcamp, you know? I feel no need to jump through all those hoops just so it's slightly more accessible, but like what's more accessible than a free download, you know? There is this though, which the title of the album is wrong. And I don't know what this is or how someone uploaded it, but you can't play it. I don't know how Spotify works, but yeah, this isn't me, and even if it was, you couldn't hit play regardless, so ignore that. Any places you want to travel to in the future? Anywhere, kind of, but you know, that costs money, so I doubt it. What country would you like to live in? Somewhere with free healthcare that doesn't fuck with fascism? One of those would be cool. No beauty standards or physical restrictions. How would you design yourself? Unlimited traits. Dude, I love like the cyberpunk lines. Love those. Other than that, I haven't thought anything past that point, but the cyberpunk lines, very cool. Are you interested in doing more gaming videos? I will eventually. I'm kind of already doing it every week on Twitch, technically. They don't exactly perform super well, but like, I don't care. It's fun. I do have another installment of this series I have in mind. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I will be doing it at some point. Views be damned, it's super fun. What are your thoughts on the morality of using real gore as album covers? It's fine. I guess it kind of depends on how it's sourced, but I don't really care. I think it's cool and fun. You should do a video on NSFW album covers. I would, but the video would look like this. So yeah, I'm not going to. How do you cope in the face of a world that's becoming more dumb and hostile every day? I mostly just distract myself because unfortunately there's not really anything I can do. The only way that anyone can make a difference would be, you know, updated room tour. There's really not much to show off, but sure, let's go. Okay, so unfortunately, it is the exact same. There is nothing different, but some new additions I have is the 200 Stab Wounds music video shoot poster, and a poster from when I went to go see Nosferatu, and they were giving out free posters, so fuck it. My office is also pretty much the exact same. The only new addition is a Dusk poster, since that's one of my favorite games ever. Anyways, it's extremely anticlimactic, but that's the update. Cool. Are you jaking it right now? Yeah. Thoughts on professional wrestling, like WWE stuff? I have never really cared for it, but I always appreciate it. Despite it not being anything I like keep up to date on or invest any of my time in, it's just, there's something about just the primal male urge to watch people like throw each other off of things and hit each other with steel chairs. That's just fun. Also, I love how many video essayists have at least one video on wrestling.
I don't know why that's so like cute to me, but I really like it, and it makes me appreciate some of these arcs way more when I watch videos on it, because they're really cool. Do you mosh at all when you go to shows? Love your videos. First of all, thank you. And secondly, not really anymore. I used to a lot when I was a teenager and had more energy, but now I'm the old decrepit age of 25, and I don't want to move if I don't have to. What are the coolest bands you've seen in the smallest rooms? I saw World Peace at Dis House. That's cool. Total Serial opened for that show, which is especially cool because 2 of their songs may or may not involve me, which is really cool. Life comes full circle, doesn't it? That's so neat. I also saw Motionless in White in the venue, but like the really small stage that's just in the corner and is not enough room for like 5 people to stand on. Hopefully I could find a picture of it somewhere, but it's a very small, very cramped venue that they're never going to be playing in venues like that size ever again, so that's kind of cool. Also, Code Orange at Kilby and Full of Hell at Diabolical Records. I think that's all I could think of, so we're going with that. If you could bring a band back together, what would it be? Old Wounds, that's easy. What's the hardest part about filming a video? Okay, so for the filming specifically, not a lot of people really keep this in mind, but it's really obvious when I say it, but lights, yeah, they produce heat. And God forbid you're like playing a horror game or something. Imagine playing a horror game in a dark room and you have like 2 flashlights pointed at your face. That's what it's like filming a video. It's really cool. Voice strain, that sucks. If you say something weird or stupid, you have to say it a billion more times, which happens so much more often than every YouTuber ever lets on. It takes way longer than you think, and if you're struggling, you have to hide it. That's the fun part. You can't halfway through look hot and sweaty and miserable and not acknowledge it like halfway through a paragraph. That's not allowed. So you have to fake interest. And luckily I do a pretty good job. You can never really tell when I'm miserable, but there's at least once in every single video where I would really love to be finished. I know this is a personal question, so you don't have to answer, but what are your turn-ons? Honestly, if you're not funny, don't even talk to me. I know that's not exactly what you're asking, but that's like my only like requirement, is if you're not like fun and funny to talk to, why would I? That sounds miserable for both of us. Let's not bother. What's your favorite matching tattoo? This one. I got a few questions on like videos that I want to make but haven't been able to, or had to scrap for whatever reason. Pretty much every video idea that I can't execute now, I would be able to at some point in the future, due to like money or resources or whatever, hopefully being better. I don't fucking know. So pretty much no video idea is permanently shelved. It's just something that I will hopefully get to at some point. I did, however, scrap an entire video a few years ago called Fixing the Bible to Make It Cooler. The idea is like so stupid and so like blasphemous and fun and goofy. But the reason why I scrapped it is I had the idea right in that kind of weird bubble where like AI art was like a weird freaky gimmick, and it wasn't taking jobs away, it wasn't doing anything. It looked like shit, and you could only kind of like vaguely decipher what it's like trying to be.
That is Ghost Rider getting given a ticket.
You know what? I think that's it
Speeding
right there,
ticket?
baby.
Yeah.
Speeding ticket.
And a lot of creators were messing around with it and making videos based off of it and whatnot. And like, there wasn't a hatred that everyone, including myself, has towards AI art. It was just stupid bullshit. That's all it was.
I'm gonna go with gamer urinal.
I kind of love that.
And that video of rewriting the Bible to make it cooler kind of really only works if there's visuals. And at that time, using AI art would have been like good and fine, and no one would have given a shit. It wouldn't have taken jobs away from anyone. It would look like shit, but that would be part of the joke. But as we all know, that period of time only lasted like 4 months, and as it got better, it wouldn't be funny, and it would just be shitty, and AI art is like just garbage, and I want nothing to do with it. And if I'm being honest, I feel uncomfortable saying that I even had this idea at one point, because I know how the internet works, and plenty of people will purposefully overlook that no one really had an opinion on it once upon a time. So people will overlook that just so they could get mad at me currently, even though I'm also saying it's not a good idea. But it was a decent idea at the time, which has since passed. And like, technically I could still make this video and hire a bunch of artists to do it, but that would cost so much fucking money for a shitty low effort shit. It would cost thousands of dollars just to go, Jesus is bench pressing, LOL. Like, that's such a waste of time and money. Like, holy shit. Part of the joke is that it would look like shit, but if it looks good, then that defeats the point. It's just like, it's a good video idea that only could work within like that 4-month time span where AI art was like a stupid fun gimmick that people know, like, that no one had an opinion on yet. It can still exist, obviously, but I'm against using AI art, so I'm not gonna fucking do that. I did write it all already. I have it somewhere. Maybe I'll put it up on Patreon or something, so follow me over there if you want. If you had to fight one of the US presidents, who would it be and why, besides ideologies? Besides ideology? What other criteria would it be then? that takes all the fun out of it. I don't know, Biden is frail. I think that would be over immediately. Trump seems extremely top heavy, like if you just push him a little bit, he'd fall very easily and very hard. Reagan needs it. I know you said besides ideology, but like, come on. I do think Lincoln would beat my ass, however. So, you know. Now, did that answer your question? Thoughts on flavored lube. All right, now we're getting to the real questions. Hell yeah. This is a real story. One time when I was living together with my girlfriend at the time, we had a thing of flavored lube, and it was in a drawer next to the bed, obviously. And one day I walked into the room and I caught her holding it with her finger in her mouth, and she looked guilty. And I was like, were you just eating the flavored lube? And she was like, yeah. And then I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, I'm so glad that this happened, because I have something to tell you. I also have been eating the flavored lube when you weren't looking. Because it was good, man. And it was funny that we were both hiding it from each other. And so flavored lube, good. Is that a good answer? Oh well. Who's your favorite felon? One time my mom dated someone who was a felon, and his felony was for arson because he got paid to torch a building for insurance money. So when he went in to light the building on fire, he got caught because he didn't plan a way out. So he was just stuck in a burning building, and he had to call the police on himself. And then he went to jail. Probably that guy. Alright, I have been talking for way too long, so let's finally close off this video by going to our last little batch of questions. Do you want kids? Hell no. I love having free time and a little bit of money. And, yeah, that would kind of get in the way a little bit. How do you deal with burnout? Been feeling it for over a year, but slowing down has been kind of hard. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't know, man. I just try and give myself some time a little bit, especially when it comes to creative stuff. You know, you kind of have to let the well of creativity fill back up again before you can scoop more out of it. What part of the video making process is the most challenging for you? Editing takes so fucking long. It sucks. Especially green screen stuff. Like, I cannot emphasize that. Like, with this, what you're seeing right now, there's no work. It's just cuts for timing, and that's it. For green screen videos, on one hand, there's a lot of flexibility because you could do anything and everything, but it also means you have to make anything and everything. For this shot, I just had to put up a camera, which was a little bit of effort. I mean, you're in the sky, but like, for green screen, you have to do literally every single thing has to be, like, not planned out, but figured out. And if you want to know how long it takes to edit my last video, the extreme video, go ahead and count how many things there are. Just things. Just things. Go ahead, count. You are going to get exhausted by, like, 2 minutes. Like, and it's over an hour. Fuck, dude. Editing is one of the most fun parts and also the part that feels like torture simultaneously. It's really cool. Also, knowing when the script is done, when it's like, okay, I can move forward with this. That's really hard because you could always add more stuff. You could always revise stuff. It's just knowing when to cut yourself off. Because, like, there's kind of no going back, basically. Like, if the script sucks, then the video sucks. There's no editing magic you could work to really salvage it. If the script is bad, then the video is bad. So knowing when to call it for the script and hoping that it's not bad, and then you're gonna waste like 3 months on a video that ends up being terrible. There's a lot riding on that, and it sucks and it's scary. And the only way around it is to have confidence in yourself. Fuck that, that's hard. Speaking of which, are you confident? If yes, where do you get it from? If no, why? I mean, in some areas, yeah. In most, no. A lot of confidence is mostly just built through repetition. Like, when I started streaming, it was so stressful. Like, what do you mean just hit go live and then be funny for like 3 hours? That's insane. I used to be so anxious before every single stream, but now I'm not really nervous anymore. I'm totally fine being like, all right, I'm gonna play a game and I'm gonna basically do improv for like, I don't know, 6 hours, and I'm sure it'll be good and it'll be fun, and then I do it and then it is good and fun. Also, Princess is here. So am I confident? I don't know, a little. Kinda, sometimes. I microdose it. Does that count? Are you worried about the future of your channel, or do you try not to think about it? I mean, not really. This is still like a new channel, basically, so I'm not too worried about the long term. I just got here. I know that I'm never gonna run out of ideas. It's mostly just like, it would suck if people stopped watching. But there's nothing I can do about that, you know. That's on you guys. Not to stress you out. Love you too. But how often or how bad do you feel the pressure to upload? Kind of all the time, kind of none of the time. I kind of just try and subscribe to the idea that, like, you know, it's done when it's done. I know the phrase "you can't rush art" usually applies to art and not stupid YouTube videos, but like I think that the same kind of thought process can be applied to this. My thought process is always like, look, if people want low effort slop, there is no shortage on this platform. They can just go elsewhere. If someone wants something that took me a long time to make and I worked really hard on, then it's gonna take a little bit. I always try and make sure I never drag my feet and be lazy, but ultimately stuff gets done when it gets done, you know? That being said, do I feel the pressure to upload all the time? Oh yeah, I do. But I like putting forth effort into things, and sometimes I decide not to do that, like with this video and with a few others that I have planned coming up next. But anyways, does that answer your question? I hope it does. Can you hear her purring? She's so sweet. Why is a Q&A always the go-to for Mile celebrations? I mean, it's not, but like, it is now, I guess. I don't know, this is only the second time I've done this. It's a bummer that Q&As are ultimately like the least best performing thing anyone can ever do. There's a lot of YouTubers that I love it when they do a Q&A, but it is always extremely underperforming. So it's never a good idea, which is why a lot of people kind of don't really do it that much anymore, but I like it, and much like with all my videos, if I like something, I'm gonna do it. Fuck the algorithm or whatever, just follow your heart or whatever. This was a weird answer, but you get my point. It's also easy. That's the main answer, if I'm being honest. How do I plan out my videos? I don't feel like talking about it for way too long, so here is a bullet point list. There you go. Do you feel stupid behind the camera? Does it eventually fade? Well, behind the camera, no. That's why I got into camera operation to begin with, is you get to scratch that itch, but you don't actually, you're behind the camera. No one gives a shit. It's just fun to do things. But in front of the camera, yeah, you feel stupid all the time. I feel stupid right now. Since I film everything when I'm alone and I can just edit it later, it's fine. But the idea of doing like this with like a bunch of people watching me, like physically standing around me, fucking, I'd feel so stupid.
I don't know what else to do. Should I keep going?
So kind of, a little. I don't. Does that answer your question? Fortnite video when? Well, to celebrate 100K, this is not a joke. The next stream I will be doing will be a Fortnite stream. I have never once played Fortnite. I do not know how to play Fortnite, but I will be doing it to celebrate 100K. So check it out. Are there any questions you really want to answer but you haven't gotten yet? What a great question. One of the questions I only heard get asked to someone else once before was, what are the best ways to help support YouTubers, like, legitimately, not just like, subscribe bullshit, like actually legitimately, what are like the best ways to help YouTubers? This is genuine advice, by the way. This is not like a plug. If you do all these things to everyone else but me, that's totally fine. This is just legitimate advice, I promise. Click on new videos the moment it is presented to you. You can't always, obviously, but sometimes, like when a creator that I like will post something, I'll like, oh, I'll watch that later tonight, but I'm going to click on it right now and let it play a little bit, just so it gets registered by YouTube as, wow, a lot of people are clicking on this video that just came out. Because the algorithm actually doesn't really know the difference between no and not right now, I'll come back to this later. Both just come off as you seeing a thumbnail and not clicking on it. So clicking on a video, like, the first time it's shown to you, really does a huge number on how well something performs or not. Sharing feels cringe. It feels like you're being a cheerleader, and that feeling almost never gets reciprocated, so it feels weird, but it helps out a lot. Like posting shit on Reddit, posting it on other places, posting little clips of, it's just like, it does a lot of the legwork that the algorithm can't do, and it's always huge. And dude, straight up, comment something that you liked. Comment something that like a bit that you enjoyed. I'm talking on behalf of every single YouTuber. We want to hear that shit, especially comedians. Dude, we don't hear laughter ever. So to hear, we're alone in a room. So like to hear like, man, this bit so funny. Like it feels so good to hear the laughter like a month later, you know? It's much better than just like, hey, great video. There's never anything wrong with that, but like I love getting specific haha to this part. I love that. Every YouTuber loves that. It's just cringe to say, to request, but I can guarantee every YouTuber loves that. It's hard to talk about these things without it sounding like a plug, but I'm being very sincere. It feels good to give a creator that you really like their stuff like $1 every month or so. I like doing it. Once I got Patreon, like as a fan, I was like, this is great. There's no going back. This feels good. I'm directly supporting people whose stuff I really care about, and I get bonus stuff. This is awesome. Even if you never subscribe to my Patreon, I encourage you to do it to others because it really is great. But if you don't believe me, check out all these awesome people. Look at them. They're so cool. They know what's up. And these people, they also know what's up. Hell yeah. My videos could not exist without all of those people, and that's huge and goes a long way. Anyways, thank you so much for 100K. I love and appreciate all your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
No, oh shit! Alright, now we're... Oh. Alright, now we're good.